What's up, everybody? We're bringing back an old school series of What Is. So what is Bang on Balls Chronicles, and why is everybody talking about it? Why has it got such huge positive reviews? Well, first, to give a quick summary, this is going to end up being a platformer. So jumping around is going to be your main mode of exploration. This is going to literally be the entire move set of your character. Jumping, double jumping, dashing, and ground pounding. That's it. Other than like blocking and using like some special attacks and stuff like that are very situational and dependent on the gear that you have, that's it. So you'll very quickly realize, oh, well, I can dash into a jump and then I can do a second jump into another dash, and it's platforming perfection. The thing is, despite the fact that the controls are this simple, the game itself has so much to offer, and that's why so many people are just praising this game, myself included. I bought this on a whim because I was like, oh, that looks kind of cool. And then it turns out it's steadily becoming one of my favorite games of this year, at least in terms of an indie game, because the amount of detail that they've got crammed into this is insane. Like, just to give you guys a quick example, and I'll go over like the other gameplay aspects of the game because it's kind of a collect-a-thon. But here, let me grab like a fire weapon right here, right? If I go into this modern building, look at this. The sprinkler system turns on. There's only like 2 or 3 fire weapons in the game. They didn't need to add this detail, but that is just one small thing that the game does thousands of little things like that. Like it's crazy. So anyways, moving back to what the game actually is and in terms of its complexity. So it's essentially Mario 64. So that right there is going to end up being the first level, which I'll show you guys in a moment. As you end up beating the level or beating the boss or the main objective of the level, you'll unlock the next level and the next level and the next level. And each of the levels is going to end up having their own theme. And as you can see, it's all related to Hollywood. So there's going to be a lot of movie references, a lot of references to other games and stuff. And the thing that's so impressive to me is the scale of these levels. Like, when I was first playing this game, I didn't pay much attention to the loading screen. Now I get really, really excited because it's got like so many little Easter eggs in it that kind of hint at the larger picture, right? So if we kind of head through, you know, this, oh, it's just a small little game, right? Wrong. This area is massive, and this is just the first level. It is essentially a open world, but it's one level. So this game actually has like 5 or 6 different open world zones. And it's just so impressive and crazy to me, you know? Now, on top of that, what's the main objective? Well, at any point, you can end up pressing the little beep boop radar button, and it'll point you to your objective. When you are first completing a level, you're gonna have your primary objective, which is usually collect a bunch of things or break a bunch of stuff, because the entire environment is destructible, by the way. But break a bunch of stuff, for example, and then you summon the boss, move on to the next level. And that could already be it. But there's so many like little side objectives and collectibles that you'd be doing a disservice to yourself to just skip it. You know, like the thing about this game that I find so impressive is that you kind of just wander around and have fun. You know, these are going to end up being your respawn locations, which you don't have to get the picture taken or anything. It's just another little detail that gets thrown in the hub as kind of like your collage of photos, you know? But as far as like, oh, well, if we go over there, you could climb onto that wizard's tower. And then you notice that a bunch of crystals open up. And if you destroy all of the crystals, you'll open up all of these wind gusts. And then when you end up going to the end of the wind gust, you end up getting the ice wand, which I can't find because my inventory is just so chock full of things. There it is right there. Most items in the game are just going to be for cosmetic purposes. Some of them will actually have different functions. So this ice one, for example, you'll realize really quick, oh, now I can freeze enemies. But you'll notice that there's a little bit of a cooldown down in the middle of your screen. And if you end up doing a ground pound next to enemies, you can freeze a couple of them. And then when they're frozen, it's usually an insta-kill because you can destroy them, right? So there's all this little nuance without anything feeling too overpowered. It more so just feels like it's here for the sake of fun. You know what I mean? And that's what I really, really appreciate about this game. And the level design is actually like insane. It's really impressive. You might end up being like, oh, well, what's in here? Oh, here's a chest. Here's some collectibles. So what are the blue things? Well, the blue things are gonna be, sometimes you'll come across these NPCs that will sell you their cosmetic item specifically, and you'll have to spend a certain amount of points in order to get that, right? It's kind of like, well, here's a guy right here, prime example. I can spend 500 on him. He explodes. And now I've got that cosmetic that he just had, which was the raccoon face that I'm rocking right now. It's kind of like the, what was it? The bits in Mario Galaxy. Like this game's got like aspects from multiple different games. Or, you know, sometimes you might have, there was a crash test dummy guy right here that I had to activate for a pretty expensive price, who seems to be stuck in the floor right now. But anyways, I would activate this, he would activate that. But you don't have to buy him if you play multiplayer, because this game goes up to 4 people online play. So you can play this very easily with your friends, or even just load up into a random lobby with random players. And everybody's going to end up kind of having their own segmented progress. So I could join my friend who already has like the last level unlocked, and I don't. But it doesn't mean that I can't go into that level with him and start collecting a bunch of the different cosmetics and stuff like that, right? And each of the levels is going to end up, again, having their own theme. This one's kind of a Viking one, but I just want to show you guys a quick little example as we go through the environment. Like, now we're in a graveyard, and, you know, as we ended up completing all of these purple things, we would unlock this thing in the middle, which gives us a film, which is kind of like a Mario 64 star, right? So as you collect the stars or the films in this game, you can apply them to areas in the hub, which I'll show you momentarily, to ultimately give you another cosmetic. So that's, you know, that's kind of all it is. That's the incentive, is just play the game and have fun. One of the Steam reviews that sold me on this game, which I think summarized this game perfectly, is with so many AAA games out there that are focusing on all of these different mechanics and stuff, it's so refreshing to have a game like this where its primary objective seems to be, is it fun? Make it fun for the player. You know, like suddenly here, there's a big Spartan arena. If we start going over in this direction, we've got the canals, and oh man, now we go over here and we've got like a whole Viking village that's being raided, and we can, you know, help the villagers and stuff. There's so many little things like that that just litter the entire game. Like, this is the same level that we were just in, you know. Oh, here's another film. Oh, here's another big enemy. And, you know, there's some nuance to the combat, like shield enemies. You got to kind of, you know, do a ground pound next to them to stun them, and then you can deal damage to them. And killing enemies, you know, is ultimately going to end up giving you some more of the blue stuff for points. You know, now we're on a beach that's got like a Viking invasion going on, and we could use these summoning totems right here to summon a giant pig boss. And then if we beat the giant pig boss, we get our cosmetic. Another thing that I think is really cool when you look at the intrinsic level of detail to this game is this one map alone has an entire underground section. Like this is like, I've only ever seen map design done this well in like a Dark Souls game from FromSoft, you know, like where these devs just get it. So we ended up just going into a mill. Now suddenly we're underground, and now we're actually in a dungeon. So this is actually underneath the giant, fully fleshed out, expanded castle area. And this again is all just within this one level. I mean, you can even, there's even like Stonehenge, and you can go there and you can activate a UFO, and then you can go into the UFO for a weird parkour challenge, and it's all this Illuminati stuff, and it's crazy. Now, it does expand on the gameplay a little bit. Here in the hub area, basically there would be like a film icon right here. I would spend the film, and then it unlocks like this. Basically, it would just show up as like a hologram unless I invest the film. But you can see I'm missing one film or Mario 64 star in this level that I just can't seem to find. But it doesn't matter, I don't have to. If I did end up consuming or finding the last film, I'd be able to spend it here in the hub, and then I would unlock a cosmetic that just has something to do with the boss. That's it, you know, it doesn't, like, it's not game breaking by any means, you know. This level right here, this is the space level. So, you know, obviously there was the Americans versus the Russians in terms of, you know, the space program, and this entire level can be completed by siding with either of them. So I sided with the Russians, and it went through this whole thing and ultimately ends with an intense boss fight up on the moon with a planet. Like it, I still got to go through the same level on the American side, and it's like you're getting two big open world areas mixed into one, and you know, and that's kind of the big gimmick of that level, is that you get the choices. This is the Japan level, which goes through old school Japan into 1999 Japan, into when Japan was getting Americanized, so you got a bunch of hamburgers as enemies, and it all ends with a kaiju boss battle where you literally turn into the Megazord from Power Rangers and fight Godzilla, you know, and then there's going to end up being the Kraken's Lost Coins, which is the pirate level. This is the level that introduces large expanses of water where you actually have a boat, and the boat is another item that you can use cosmetically. You don't get to use it in the Viking area. You get to use it in the Japan area, in this area, maybe in the later areas. I haven't gone there yet. But the fact is that this area's design is centralized around each of the different islands. So a lot of this area is going to be traversing through the water, and then you'll end up uncovering an island over here. And it's like, oh, dang, dude, this is like, it's almost like a pocket level that you would see in another video game where it's like, oh, climb to the top of the lighthouse, and then you leave and you go to Davy Jones' locker, and then ultimately you end up fighting the Kraken. So all of this to suffice to say, this game is incredible. Like, I can't believe a game like this exists, because the amount of care and attention to detail that it has is nothing short of amazing, and you can get lost in a single level for hours. I know I have. Like, I just keep exploring, and I just keep having fun, and you know, my other buddy's playing through the game now, and I've just been going back into his world and going through the adventure with him. You know, I've already got all those levels unlocked, but it's still so fun. I just want to play it with my buddies. And then even so, I'm still discovering new things that I'd never seen for my first time through the game, you know? And it's just, highly recommend this one. You can expect me to end up making a review that's probably going to end up having a resounding positive yes. The fact that this game is not $80 or $100 or whatever, depending on your local currency. I'm Canadian, so games are very expensive for me. This is half the price of a AAA game, if not even lower than that. Can be played online with up to 4 friends, and it's on all consoles. And it's also very well optimized. At least on the PC version, I can say it's well optimized because it's using Unreal Engine, and even on the lowest settings, it still looks breathtaking. Like the level design themselves also looks amazing. They also, like, these developers also really seem to understand like the visual theme of areas, so they're not afraid to change the lighting to be a lot more dramatic, or have a blizzard when you're, you know, climbing up Mount Fuji and stuff in the Japan level. And there's just so much cool little details, you know, like this guy's doing a Zen garden, I can ruin his Zen garden, you know. And there's all like these sushi enemies and stuff. Anyways, now I'm just gushing about the game, and rightly so, because this game is a treat to play, and games like this, they're a dime a dozen. They don't exist very often. So I would recommend, if you end up picking this game up, you know, you're gonna love it. You're gonna have a good time with it. I don't think it's got local play, or does it actually? Oh, it does. It goes up to 2-player split screen. That's right. I'm an idiot. I completely forgot about that. So there you go. You can play up to 2 people. I don't think it goes up any more than that, but either way, highly recommend this game. If you pick it up on Steam, leave a positive review, because this is the type of game that deserves a lot more attention than it's getting. It is getting a lot of attention, but I'm just so impressed. Like, this, to me, is this year's Hat in Time. You know, the last game that was an indie platformer that did this much was Hat in Time, you know, to me, and that game ended up becoming a cult classic. I think that this game deserves that as well. But anyways, that's enough gushing about the game. I just wanted to have a shorter video highlighting it and talking about it, because I am going to be doing a playthrough, but each of the levels, you know, I kind of blast through those in about an hour, even though I'm spending many hours off camera exploring. Smash like stuff for more, buy the merch you want, support the channel, and have a wonderful day, everybody. There's also a dedicated fart button. And and every single achievement in this game involves farting under certain conditions, fart while getting a tattoo, fart when trapped in a bubble, fart on the second moon. Like, that's all the achievements, man. I laughed almost to tears when I noticed that, because it is just so on point for how weird and strange this game is to have this be what the achievements are.